The morning of September 19th, 1944, settled a thick, cold fog over the fields surrounding Arracourt, in eastern France. The German 113th Panzer Brigade advanced confidently, relying on their superior Panther tanks and the established doctrine of heavy armor. They expected a slow, methodical fight. Their confidence stemmed from the Panther's sloped frontal armor and its powerful high-velocity 75mm main gun. They believed qualitative superiority guaranteed dominance over any American vehicle they might encounter. However, they were about to receive a shocking education. The American 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion was deployed, armed with the fast, light, and deadly M18 Hellcat, ready to shatter all expectations. An ambush occurred in the misty morning. A Panther commander spotted a blur of motion a low-slung, fast-moving American vehicle, but it was already too late for his crew to react. Before the heavy Panther turret could be manually cranked into alignment, the M18 had fired its armor-piercing shells. It disabled the German tank instantly and then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The Germans were no longer the hunters. They were now the hunted, being killed by an unseen enemy that was simply too fast to track. The psychological blow was immediate and immense for the advancing Panzer crews. In the opening minutes of the fight, 5 Panther tanks were destroyed, with the American side suffering only a single loss. Arracourt was a brutal validation of the revolutionary idea that speed was the ultimate form of protection. The Panther represented the pinnacle of German armored doctrine, designed around overwhelming offensive power and maximum defensive protection. Its sloped front armor was virtually impervious to standard Allied fire. Paired with the long-barreled KWK 42 L70 cannon, the Panther could reliably knock out any Allied tank at range. This reliance on qualitative superiority was the bedrock of German armored confidence throughout the war. Yet, this dedication to mass and power created critical, debilitating flaws. The heavy machine relied on a highly complex and sensitive drivetrain, particularly the final drive mechanism, prone to chronic failure. A significant percentage of Panther tanks were often sidelined, awaiting parts or major repairs, unavailable for combat. Their massive size also translated into sluggish maneuverability, a fatal operational weakness. The slow reaction time of its 7-ton turret, which took up to a minute for a full rotation, further compounded the Panther's vulnerability to fast flanking maneuvers. The M18 Hellcat, by contrast, was the physical embodiment of a fundamentally new military doctrine pioneered by Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Davis. Bruce rejected frontal confrontation. He recognized that relying on brute force was to play the enemy's game. Bruce's visionary solution was to prioritize the ability to dictate the terms of engagement and the escape route. Bruce established 4 non-negotiable design priorities. First, speed. Second, firepower. Third, crew efficiency. And only fourth came on. He argued that armor was irrelevant if you could outrun the enemy. This shoot and scoot philosophy: engage, disable, and rapidly relocate before the enemy can respond required a vehicle that willingly traded protection for superior mobility. The Hellcat was intentionally given thin armor to keep its weight down to only 20 tons. This lightness allowed it to achieve phenomenal operational speeds, vital for avoidance and survival. The Hellcat was a tactical instrument of speed, engineered to attack the Panther's weakest point: its thin side and rear armor, and its slow reaction time. The task of creating the 50 miles per hour tracked vehicle fell to General Motors' Buick division. They brought mass production and high-performance automotive engineering to the military design. The heart of the M18 was the reliable Continental R 975C 9-cylinder radial aircraft engine, adapted for ground use, giving it an unmatched power-to-weight ratio. Key design choices included a torsion bar suspension for excellent cross-country speed and an open-top turret, enhancing crew situational awareness crucial for quick tactics. This simplification meant the M18 could be built cheaply, quickly $57,500, and with far fewer man-hours than its heavy German counterparts. It was an expression of American industrial ingenuity. The M18's greatest weapon was its sheer speed. It cruised at 55 miles per hour, easily outrunning the 45-ton Panther, which struggled to maintain 29 miles per hour. especially off. This speed difference had profound tactical consequences. If spotted, the Hellcat could instantly break contact and disappear before the Panther's gunner could even align his slow turret. The Panther had no escape when engaged from the flank. It could not turn fast enough or pursue a mobile threat. The M18 dictated the time and place of every engagement. The Hellcat turned the battlefield into a dynamic three-dimensional space, forcing the Panther into predictable two-dimensional movement, permanently exposing it to the lightning-fast ambusher. Prior to France, the M18 saw significant combat in the rugged terrain of the Italian campaign, particularly around Anzio and the Gustav Line. This was its crucial proving ground. The crews quickly learned that direct confrontation with German 88mm guns was suicidal. They adapted the doctrine to the terrain, relying on speed to shift defensive lines rapidly. Its lightweight allowed the M18 to navigate secondary roads and bridges impassable to heavier vehicles. Crews honed their instincts, readying them for the open fields of France. The Battle of Arracourt became the ultimate test. The German attack ran straight into the guns of the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion, utilizing decentralized and fast-moving tactics. Lieutenant Leapers, Plateau, in particular, used the fog and their superior mobility to execute daring, coordinated flanking maneuvers, always striking the vulnerable side armor. The German response was consistently too slow. Commander struggled to identify the source of the attack, and by the time a counter-move was ordered, the Hellcats were long gone. The battle rapidly devolved from a planned German offensive into a desperate defensive scramble. The 704th, through speed alone, achieved an astonishing one-sided kill ratio. Beyond speed, the M18's fast-reversing powered turret was a key advantage. It could spin a full 360 degrees in mere seconds. Unlike the manual rotation required for the Panther, this speed difference was often the difference between a successful ambush and a lethal counter. The quick traverse allowed for rapid target acquisition and immediate escape orientation. Equally important was the M18's superior mechanical reliability, a benefit of its automotive design. Its engine could be replaced by a trained crew in less than 2 hours. This quick maintenance was impossible on the cramped, overly complex Panther, which often required a full day in specialized recovery equipment for similar repairs. The M18's high operational readiness percentage of vehicles available for combat was a silent but decisive strategic advantage over the mechanically fragile German behemoths. The success was also a victory of superior communication. The Hellcat utilized the SCR 508 FM radio system for clear, instantaneous voice communication across platoons. This reliable radio allowed M18 platoons to operate as coordinated hunting packs, executing complex bait and ambush tactics in real time with flawless sync. One M18 could draw the Panther's attention, while the commander used the radio to guide the others to strike the exposed flank. The Americans had a cognitive edge. The ultimate verdict was delivered by industrial logistics. The M18 costs only $57,500 and required just 500 man-hours for assembly, a model of American industrial power. The German Panther demanded over 2,000 man-hours of skilled labor. American factories could replace every Hellcat loss in less than 2 days of production. The loss of a Panther represented weeks of highly skilled labor and rare resources that Germany could ill afford to lose. The kill-to-loss ratio became a statistical testament. The M18's high ratio was the mathematical proof that the American strategy leveraging industrial scale to produce fast, effective, and flexible vehicles was decisively superior. The Hellcat was not just fighting the German army. It was an industrial statement against the entire fragile German war economy and its emphasis on complexity. The sustained tactical shock eventually forced German high command to reconsider, ordering their Panther crews to abandon pursuit and rely on static ambush positions. This reluctance to engage in open country effectively neutralized the Panther's intended role as a breakthrough vehicle. The massive weight became an insurmountable liability. Any attempt to chase a Hellcat was futile, guaranteed to waste precious fuel and lead to inevitable mechanical breakdown. German frustration was palpable. Their most advanced assets were reduced to anti-tank guns, denying the army the mobile reserves needed for effective counter. The Hellcat's speed dictated German defeat. The M18's operational service throughout the rest of the war validated the doctrine of velocity. Its versatility was critical during the brutal winter of the Battle of the Bulge, despite the extreme cold and deep snow. The M18 maintained a higher operational tempo than many heavier vehicles, including the Sherman, which struggled with engine maintenance. Hellcat units played a vital role in rapidly reinforcing threatened areas, exploiting their speed to plug gaps and provide desperately needed mobile firepower against the German thrusts. By the end of the war, the M18 Hellcat achieved the highest kill-to-loss ratio of any American armored vehicle, standing at an impressive 2.4 to 1 across the European theater. This figure was the ultimate proof of Andrew Bruce's unconventional vision. Agility and situational awareness were superior to the brute force of thick armor in a mobile conflict. The Hellcat's success was a seismic event that reshaped the future of armored warfare, proving that the race for ever thicker armor and heavier guns was a tactical dead end. It showed that against a sufficiently fast and well-coordinated opponent, speed and maneuverability were the truest forms of protection. An enemy you cannot catch, cannot kill. Post-war analysis of the M18's performance contributed significantly to the evolution of the main battle tank concept. Moving away from specialized heavy tank classes, designers realized the ideal vehicle needed to combine the high speed of the Hellcat with sufficient armor and firepower for general protection. The Hellcat influenced modern high-speed vehicles. The principles established by the Hellcat high power-to-weight ratio, rapid turret, traverse, an emphasis on striking vulnerable points endured in armored design for decades. The M18 Hellcat, built in a factory better known for sedans, left a permanent legacy. Mobility is a weapon in itself, proving that performance must be prioritized alongside protection. The Ghost of Arracourt ensured that the era of the slow, invincible, heavy behemoth was truly and decisively over. Its success was the triumph of thought over mass.